Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and today we're climbing Mount Teide in Tenerife and aiming to do what only 5 other riders have done on this Strava segment and gone under the hour. The segment is topped by none other than Remco, and of course Illy Gardner has the QOM. This climb doesn't actually start at sea level, but the segment from Chio to Teide is just under 25 kilometers, one of the most ridden segments on the island. With a mediocre average gradient of just under 6%, this is still a horse category climb. What makes it particularly challenging is the different weather conditions, and once you get over 1500 meters above sea level, you have the last couple of kilometers at quite high altitude. So we gain momentum and we hit this climb to begin what I hope to be less than an hour of suffering. Now this climb and me, we have history. In fact, this was the first mountain I ever climbed, way back in 2012 when I went on my first ever cycling training camp. Now I actually don't have a Strava activity from back then, so you'll have to take my word for it, but I certainly didn't climb it as fast as I do today. But today, we had a slightly different issue. You see, my power meter decided it didn't want to work anymore, and therefore I had to pace this entire climb on feel. And to be honest with you, I was kind of not really motivated for it. I really wanted to have some sort of tangible number to either pace myself off of, or at least have there to look back on. But needless to say, I thought, I'm here now, I'm in my skin suit, which usually indicates I've got to commit to something, and we're just going to give it a good bash. But to say this climb is a little bit boring is probably an understatement. Like, it's not my favourite way up to the top of Mount Teide. There's not much in the way of corners, hairpins, or different gradients. It's pretty much 5.5% nearly all the way. It doesn't really deviate. And so the climb itself is fairly straightforward. You settle into a rhythm, and then you hope that at some point near the end, you've got enough in the tank to increase your effort. But of course, we do have to talk about elevation. You see, once we get to about 6 kilometers to go, we've passed over the 1500 meter altitude mark. And that's where you can really start to feel the changes if you're not used to being at altitude, particularly if you're on the absolute ragged edge. Now I digress. The weather at the bottom was good. There was no headwind. It felt good and smooth, and everything felt like I was trundling along nicely. The big ring felt like the small ring, and you know that's a good day. So as I ticked off the kilometers, I realized there's not going to be much to concentrate on here other than this long, straight, draggy road in front of me, nobody to catch, and oh wait, who's that ahead? And that is where I spot Primoz Roglic descending. I give him a little wave, but granted he's going downhill at probably nearly 80 kilometers per hour. He didn't wave back. But his team car gave me a friendly beep. No doubt they see this small Welsh lad in a skin suit on quite a cold mountain, giving it the beans. I was concentrated so much, I didn't actually get any shots of him. However, the boys who were climbing up just behind me did. In fact, they got a chance to stop while he was getting changed and grab some photos and conversation with him. I'm not jealous at all. But back to the effort in hand. We go around one of the long meanders. It's actually almost like a river, this climb, the way it carves its way down the mountainside. And we go through various sort of terrains. At one moment, you're going through trees that absolutely fill the place. The next minute, you're out almost in a volcanic land with rocks and dust all around you. There's a glimmer of hope as the sunshine comes out a couple of times and I could see dry patches on the road, and that really fills me with a little bit of morale, which is ideal really because I'm about to turn into what is probably a terribly timed headwind for the last 5 kilometers. I slog my way through it and see that I'm about to enter some freezing cloud as we get within a couple of kilometers from the top, and this is where the altitude starts to take hold. I find myself gasping for air and I can feel my heart rate starting to drift and get out of control. Where it was earlier in the low 160s, it is now hovering in the low 170s. I pass a car park with people putting on their hiking boots and having a jolly good time, looking across the road and wondering what on earth is this person doing. It's at this point I start to summon all remaining energy I have to get out of the saddle, something you rarely ever see me do. And to be honest, I have to fight just to be able to hold onto the handlebars because my arms, after being gripping the handlebars for the past 50 or so minutes, are starting to tire and fatigue. My upper back, my lower back, and everything else starts to feel the strain. As I climb to within the last couple of kilometers, I can see that I'm just a little bit off Remco Evenepoel's KOM time. In fact, with 2 kilometers to go, I witness my Garmin tell me that he has just finished. Not far to go, I think, but then the wind has other plans. I push through though, but I find myself hemorrhaging seconds, almost doing maths in my head thinking, how long is this last kilometre going to take me? If I want to do it in less than an hour, I really need to get a shift on. With the end in sight, I scrap looking at the clock and I just get my head down. Crossing the top, absolutely empty and totally freezing cold, to finish with a time just over the hour mark. I was gutted, more so to just miss out on the top 10 as opposed to not cracking the hour. Oh, I was so close. Well, I mean 2 minutes 15 seconds is not that close to sub 1 hour. Looking at it now, it's insane to see that 19,000 efforts have been recorded up this climb and I'm now 13th on the leaderboard. Just 1 second behind Pavel Sivakov. I don't care if he wasn't going flat out. I was. A bit of motivation though to come back and see if I can get 2 minutes and 15 seconds faster to sneak inside that top 10. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your support. It was good fun doing this one so early in the year, and there's going to be plenty more to come too. I'll see you next time and happy climbing.